in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
That is right, everybody. It is The Angry Chicken. This is episode 273. My name is Willie Dills. There is no Garrett Weinzierl today. But thankfully, Jocelyn Moffitt is back from vacation. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Good to see you again.
Excited to be back. I spent like 10 days pretty much disconnected from the world, so that was fun.
That's nice. So
Yep.
you're the whole time you were just dyeing your hair blonde, right?
Exactly, yes. Oh, yeah, because you haven't seen this because
No.
you were gone the week before I went on vacation.
Wait, was it like
so yeah.
this last week? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did it like way back at the beginning of July, but we haven't been on a show together since like the very first week of July. So
Yeah.
I've been in like Dill's withdrawal. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know what the hell's going on with you these
I know.
days. All right. Well, look, you look great. Your hair is fantastic. I love it. You've been growing it too, right? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
long and the whole thing is happening. It's
Yep.
crazy. I just told you before we started the show. I was like, you look like Jocelyn from like when I first met you.
Yep.
You look exactly the same as when I first met you. That's crazy. We've known each other a long time now, actually.
We
Now that I
have,
think about
yeah. We've
that.
known each other for just forever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember a time in my life that didn't have Dills in it now.
Aw. That was a dark time. We don't talk
Yeah,
about that
yeah, we
time
don't talk
anymore.
about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on in Hearthstone, and we're gonna get to that. But first, I wasn't here last week. I want to catch everybody up on what's been going on with me. I was at a family reunion in Burnett, Texas. It was my grandparents' 70th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Right? That ain't gonna happen for anybody ever again. I think that's the last one that's ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we stayed at this really nice place. It's called Log Country Cabin or something like that. Giant, like literally like, I don't know, 10 bedrooms or something like that. There's a swimming pool, hot tub, right onto the lake, swings going into the lake, canoes, jet skis, golf course right down the road. It was insane. Really, really had a good time. And played zero Hearthstone, so good to kind of get back into the world. And then all of a sudden I come back and I'm like, oh yeah, Hearthstone. There's a bunch of cards now too. So that's basically what we're gonna talk about. We got, I don't know how many cards, like something like 15,
24
20?
cards.
24? Ah!
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, I guess we better get to that quickly. So let's, I guess, start with friggin' news. That's what we
That's
do?
usually what comes first.
All right, fine.
Good news, everyone!
All right, so Hearthstone's going through some changes. Changes. Ghostly Charger is losing the Beast Tribe, and thank God.
That was a really big
That
problem.
was a huge problem. I mean, those paladins with those beasts, Sure. All right. I mean, I guess this is consistency again, right? This is spectral spiders aren't beasts, so Arthas is still a beast, though.
Yes, Arthas
But
is
he's
a
a good
beast.
boy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think that I think it should go the other way. That like all the spectral
Yes.
things should become beasts, as opposed to all of the spectral things losing the beast tag, because
Sure.
you can train ghost things like spectral pets in Warcraft. Like they
Yeah.
are beasts.
I have a
So-
spirit kitty. It's a
Yeah.
little porcupine, and I love it, and it heals me. We were rocking double spirit kitties. Remember that in arena and
In arenas, yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I think we've talked about it on the show before, but I would like that, like for them to just make every card have some sort of tribe, like every single one, whether it matters or not. Right?
Yeah.
Like it just
I
say
wanna see, like,
human,
ninjas
elf,
and
dwarf.
Yeah,
You
all
know?
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Just so I know what it is. I don't know. I just think it would be kind of fun. If you play Magic, basically every card has something. And not every card it matters, but it just kind of tells you what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason why they shouldn't do that. Anyway, whatever. All right, Ghostly Charger. No longer beast. Got it. I guess that what it does do is it takes it out of any like random card generating effects where then somehow it comes into play, right? But
Yeah.
Ixlid the Fungal Lord is losing the elemental tribe. Okay.
I think that kind of maybe makes sense-ish. I guess he was supposed to be something along the lines of an earth elemental.
Well,
but
Lotheb
he's, like,
should be an elemental if Ixalit is, right?
Yeah.
And
They're
Lotheb
both
isn't.
like piles of fungus or
Yeah,
whatever.
they're fungus elementals. They're fun guy elementals. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, okay, fine. Fair enough. Again, didn't really come into play very often. I guess now with the new shaman card, discovering an elemental, maybe it's a thing they want to, just nip in the bud before it happens.
Yeah, stay away from.
Or as Garrett says, nip in the butt. Is that what he says? Nip in the butt.
Gotta nip these things in the butt.
Yeah. Boobs day, nip in the butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Garrett likes to put body parts on top of his sayings.
Yeah.
Shadow Boxer will now only deal damage when a minion is healed, not any character. So you can't do... I guess there were some weird Shadow Boxer OTK things you could do, healing face and stuff like that. So that's all going away. Cool. Whatever. Again, super edge cases.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming out that we're seeing in this expansion, and some, I think, priest cards that we're going to talk... Or no, you guys talked about last week, maybe? But yeah, there's also another one that does more healing again.
Yeah.
So, but it's mostly like rushing lifesteal. There's a rushing lifesteal mech, right? So they probably just want to make sure that you can't do any really super crazy shenanigans.
Sure.
Now that
a lot of this
lifesteal
stuff
is more of a thing.
A lot of this stuff does seem like just preparation for the next expansion, right? Shifter Xeris, Molten Blade, and Shifting Scroll now lose all enchantments when they transform. So basically that means hand buff type things, right?
Hand buffs, or if they get like over in Wild, if they get made cheaper by Emperor Thorson, then
sure.
They'll lose
mana reductions,
mana reductions,
Yeah, there's also Valanir. You could buff your Shifter Xeris with a Valanir, and then every minion it would turn into would have the Valanir buff. That's actually could be significant, but never really will be.
Yeah.
It's nobody's playing Shifter Xeris. I still like that card a lot. I have a golden one, and it's fun. Voodoo Doll's curse is removed on a minion if it transforms, and that makes a lot of sense. It should be.
Yep.
That's stupid that it wasn't. So good on them. If you transform, like let's say you evolve a minion, it should definitely lose the Voodoo Doll curse. So makes sense. Also, it's removed. The curse is also removed if Voodoo Doll itself is silenced, or the minion with the curse is silenced. Again, why was that not how it worked in the first place?
Yeah, that's how I assumed that it would work.
Sure.
That makes sense to me, right? Like, oh, you do a thing. I don't want that thing to happen. It's a death rattle. I silence it, but then it was still happening. And that's really, really weird. So I'm glad that they made this this change. But I think it's really interesting that you can silence it off of your own minion. I think that's
sure.
Kind of
I could see that because the Voodoo Doll is the one, but the Voodoo Doll puts essentially a debuff on the minion. Right? Yeah. So I think it makes sense that either way it's silenced. You silence the doll, you silence the minion. Either way, it kind of
if you can silence off a freeze, I guess it makes sense that you could silence off a curse. I just Just
think about something like Mass Dispel, right? Like Mass Dispel will work, but also you can spell break your own guy, right?
Yeah.
So, also, copied cards will get all enchantments the original card has unless the card is in the graveyard. So that means, I guess, there's a new card coming out that essentially does the gang up, right? The gang up effect. So what they're saying is that if you copy a card with an enchantment, then that card will have it, unless it somehow finds its way in the graveyard and then gets resurrected.
Right.
So in your deck, it will keep it, right? But
so your hand, your deck, all that kind of stuff. So before, things are getting put back in your hand and losing.
Yeah, if they get bounced back, sure.
Yeah, now they won't. Now they'll keep them. And the one...
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. And the one thing about the whole graveyard thing is they did say, like, caveat, unless it says otherwise, like we're going to talk about a Paladin spell today that says specifically on the card, they keep X type of upgrades.
Yeah.
So those, like some
there's some really interesting
will specifically state, but if it doesn't specifically state, the things you get back don't have any
There's some really interesting mechanics that we're going to talk about, like spell damage actually affecting something that's not...
It's not
spell damage. It's not damage. Yeah, okay, weird. So yeah, there's all sorts of weird stuff. By the way, they talked about how they didn't want to refund your dust in situations where the card was not necessarily nerfed for the sake of nerfs. And yet here we are. Shadowboxer is going to be disenchantable for full dust here in 2 weeks. Which I don't think they were nerfing Shadowboxer because it was so damn powerful. It seems like a consistency change, but here we are. They're now kind of going back on that.
Well, but it's possible maybe that Shadowboxer, like, it would have been way too overpowered. Like, this is a nerf. It's just not a nerf that's in the game. It's like a preemptive nerf.
Yeah.
So they're changing it. They're giving us a dust refund for that, but only that. So not for Voodoo Doll, not for Ghostly Charger, like none of that. All the rest of that stuff is consistency changes, air quotes. But yeah, Shadowboxer specifically, they're calling a nerf. So we'll get full dust. So,
all right. Well, there you go.
I'm pretty sure I have a gold one of him. Just randomly.
I may or may not. Yeah, I don't know. But I will definitely disenchant it because that card I don't ever play it. I have in the past actually tried to do weird things with it, but it's always one of those cards. It's like that in Wild will always be a thing, right? Where it's like, this card could at any moment come back and do crazy stuff. Crazy shenanigans. So.
And Shadowboxer itself is a mech, right? So
I believe it is, yeah.
There we could, again, since we haven't seen all the cards, we could still be getting some super crazy stuff that because he's a mech, maybe Mech Priest will be big and he would have been broken otherwise. You
start magnetizing things to him and stuff goes crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for news. That's basically all that's going on. Is there anything else? Am I missing anything? No.
It's the second week of Hearthstone Global Games. That's an open Swiss tournament. So if you guys are interested, they were streaming that today, tomorrow, and Thursday. So that's going on. But other than that, there's nothing too crazy.
Actually, when you bring up Hearthstone esports,
I've been out of the loop for 10 days.
Let's have a quick conversation about something.
Okay.
What do you feel about an HCT event not happening on the Play Hearthstone Twitch channel? Because they just had the Oakland one.
Really weird, yeah.
And it was on the esports thing that wasn't Play Hearthstone, and the numbers were way down. Like there was not a lot of people watching it, and I myself, I didn't watch it live, but I went to, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull up my iPad as I'm going to bed or something like that, and let's catch some Hearthstone esports. And I was like, where the hell is it? And I had to find the esports arena channel. I was like, why? No, you need to brand this. I know, I get it. I guess they have maybe a deal with esports arena where they're like, we're going to help out your channel. Sure.
But it didn't seem to help either one. So I should say, caveat before we have this discussion.
Okay. All right.
That the views expressed by the following Jocelyn do not express the views of DreamHack. But
I think we can just detach you and DreamHack when it comes to Angry Chicken. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
just overall as a blanket statement.
We've talked about. Like, I don't have any insider info. This is all my opinion.
It's not a DreamHack event anyway, so have at it.
It's not a DreamHack event, but the reason that I say that is because when HCT tour stops happen at DreamHack events, they're streamed on DreamHack Hearthstone. They're not on Play Hearthstone. So.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because the DreamHack channel is a little bit more established, so I don't feel like the DreamHack numbers ever really suffer because they're on a different channel. That being said, if all the HCT events were just streamed to Play Hearthstone, I think the numbers across the board would be higher. So I'm not really sure why the decision is made, but I agree 100%. It was very difficult to find HCT Oakland to the point that I didn't watch any. So,
and there was some really cool. I mean, it was a cool event. We had Ant on recently, and he played in it. Also, Teray won it with Quest Rogue, and weird stuff was happening, and it was cool. There was some really interesting decks, and a lot of people just weren't paying attention, right? And it's I don't know. I kind of feel like what Twitch maybe is missing here when it comes to stuff like this is. Because sometimes like DreamHack, they'll have DreamHack, and they'll have DreamHack in French and DreamHack in Russian and DreamHack in whatever. We need some sort of way to combine everything, right? So if I log into Play Hearthstone, I'm still watching it. If I log into Esports Arena, I'm still watching it. If I log into whatever, where it's basically being multi-broadcasted or whatever, multi-channels, right? I think that's maybe the answer, and then. Sure, you can have
even if
Esports
the
Arena
Play
get
Hearthstone,
the numbers. Yeah,
even if the Play Hearthstone Twitch account hosted whoever was doing a tour stop, that would have helped because then I would go to twitch.tv/play Hearthstone,
And
and then I would see, I'd be like, oh, they're hosting. Oh, this is where it is. Okay. And then I can choose where I want to watch it. I'm probably just going to go over to the live channel, but like at least have that kind of pointing. And I can't remember how that works on mobile because I usually watch on my computer, but like if a channel is hosting another channel and you go to it on mobile, does it tell you that?
It does, yeah, it does. Because I've definitely, like, if you go to the mobile app and like it shows me here's all the channels you follow, and then it goes down to the bottom and it says here's channels you follow and who they're hosting, right? So but they need some sort of way to just conglomerize the whole thing, right? Just
the discovery
also
is
videos
not
though
there.
The VODs later, like if I go to play Hearthstone, show me the VODs of who you hosted when you were hosted, like that kind of thing, because when I went to find, I didn't watch it live, I was going back to watch VODs and it was just couldn't find it, and then finally went to Reddit and someone was like, oh, it's on the esports channel. I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right. Anyway, that was just a sidebar. Now let's talk about some cards. I don't have a bumper for this, so I guess I'll just say science, and we'll just jump right on in.
I love it. You have to do that every week now.
All right, sure. By the way, they did steal that from us, right?
Oh yeah, they totally did. They totally did. Yeah.
I'm not crazy, right?
No, this they might as well just call this the Angry Chicken expansion. Let's be honest. It's full of Annoyatrons.
Annoyo module is a 4-mana 2/4, and it is a Paladin rare card. It says magnetic, divine shield, taunt, mech. This is a mech. And you can also magnetically attach it to other mechs, which is cool.
Did you see how the magnetic thing works? Where if you place it on the left side, then it attaches. If you place it on the right side,
it does
it's a
not
minion.
attach. Yes.
Yeah.
And you can actually see you can, like, as you hover it over, you see it's like kind of fusing when you hold it on the left and not when you're on the right. Yeah, it's very cool. I'm really happy that they made it that way because it would suck if you could only do magnetic if you had a mech on the board, right? So
like if the choice was kind of made for you, because that's how I thought it worked originally, is that you were going to like if you had a mech on board, then whatever's in your hand was automatically a buff, and if you didn't have a mech on board, then this would be your mech on board. So I like that you still get the choice.
Yes, I think it had to happen that way. One thing I am still a little annoyed about, we talked about this on the show with Ant, is that apparently when you fuse them, there'll be a silenceable effect, right? Like, so I kind of wish that it was more along the lines of zombies, where they just are what they are at that point.
Right.
Like
instead of a buff, it's like they literally
you're
have
fusing two minions together, making a new minion essentially. But whatever, it's fine. I also, maybe it's OP if it's that way. So I
feel like it would be, because some of the mechs that they've shown are crazy. So
it's one of those things. I have to wait and see on this. I don't know for sure if it's going to be super OP or not, but I definitely feel like it could. Right? It's a little scary. This card to me seems like it's fine. It's whatever. I don't know. It's middling. I could see how it could be really good because you might take a certain minion and giving it Divine Shield and Taunt would be really, really good. So, and a Paladin mid-range style deck, I could definitely see being able to take advantage of this spec. So, yeah, seems good. Seems like a good card. I don't really have a lot to say about how good or bad I think it's really going to be, because it's just, obviously the stats are bad for 4 mana, but Divine Shield and Taunt seems like it adds up, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I feel like they very much equated Divine Shield to 1 attack and Taunt to 1 attack. So, if you look at it kind of that way, then it's well costed, right? So
it's
going to be super annoying.
In chat just said it's 2 Annoyatrons in 1,
it is,
right? Yeah. But you don't get 2 Divine Shields.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Then we've got, let's see, Auto Defense Matrix. Here we go. It's a Paladin Secret. 1 mana, obviously. Paladin Secret. When one of your minions is attacked, give it Divine Shield. So this is interesting because there's a 1 mana card that literally just puts Divine Shield on a minion of your choosing. So this is slightly worse if you just talk about the fact that it's only going to be affecting a minion when your opponent decides it will, right?
And it kind of does the same sort of thing as Noble Sack, right?
A little bit.
Except it won't protect your face.
No, yeah, like it won't affect any attack. It's only attacks on your minions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't just stop an attack. Like if there's a Death Wing on board, you can't just not get hit in the face because you have Noble Sack up. But to me, it's like, okay, fair enough. Like I don't see this as being like a really good card. Obviously, when you generate a secret, this is one that you'll sometimes choose. But yeah, I don't know. It's not terrible, but it's just nothing exciting about this to me. I would much rather just bubble a minion of my choosing and make the attack that I want to make, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some value lost there. But, secrets being
But it's not terrible, right?
No, it's not terrible.
I mean, it's not eye for an eye.
Yes, it's not eye for an eye. Yeah.
So you're right. Like, I think anything that allows you to choose secrets, this is kind of a bit of a buff. It gives you another pretty decent option.
Sure. And it's going to make people, so Hydrologist is still in the game, right?
Yeah.
Because it's in Goro, so you'll still be able to play that.
Everything's still in the game.
Yeah.
Just over in Wild.
It seems like it'll be out there. You'll have to play around it sometime. Then we've got, here it is, Kangor's Endless Army, 7 mana, legendary Paladin spell. Resurrect 3 friendly mechs. They keep any magnetic upgrades. And the fact that they keep magnetic upgrades means this has a lot of potential, I think.
And this, I think, makes a Noyo module much better, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's either a mech or a buff, right? Yeah. So if the one thing I'm not 100% clear on is, like, let's say I use the Noyo module to buff another mech. Does that mean that a vanilla, or like vanilla air quotes, does that mean that a 2/4 Divine Shield Taunt Noyo module died? Or no? Like, does it?
No.
So it won't go in the pool.
It'll bring
if it's
back
used
that
as a buff?
the mech that was buffed. Yeah.
Right. But
the
there's no
module
chance for me to
pool.
get my base Anoyo module. It just brings back all the stuff that I buffed. So then I think this is very powerful then.
Yeah. Actually, Infrarogue brings up an interesting point is if something is silenced, does the magnetic minion come back with the magnetic thing? I don't know. I don't know about that. I'll have to find out. I would assume it does.
Is it the state of the minion when it dies, or is it like the state of the minion, like I have an Anoyo module and then here's all the buffs on top of it? Like, yeah, it depends how the information is stored.
Sure. I would think that it does, because I think that it would come back. I think that it would come back with the magnetic upgrade, even if it was silenced, because that happened at some point, right? So anyway, there's a lot of weirdness that we're gonna have to parse out as the expansion actually rocks out. But to me, it seems like what you want to do with this card is you don't want to play a whole bunch of mechs. You want to play a specific set of mechs that you then want to bring back, and that they're all buffed with magnetic stuff, right? So like you want to kind of get, I don't know, like a N'Zoth type effect where you bring back this really strong board, not just like, just some stuff. Like for 7 mana, you're gonna want to get a lot, right, out of it. So, yeah, I think it's definitely got some super sweet potential, but we're gonna have to see the full set to really know how good a card like this is.
Apparently, earlier on, Peter did actually say
it's whatever it is when it dies.
State of what it is when it dies.
Ah, so if you silence it, it will come back as a silenced version. Yeah. Oh, interesting. All right. Fair enough.
So are they, I guess they're counting, oh no, it keeps any magnetic upgrades. I was like, so I guess are they counting silence as an effect? Like, again, it goes back to the buff debuff conversation we were having earlier.
Well, it's coming back from the graveyard. So I would assume it just comes back as whatever it is pre-battle cry.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So it just will
if you silence off a divine shield, it would come back as a
when it comes
divine
back,
shield.
it gets the right.
Yes. I would
Interesting.
Assume. All right, next we've got a 4-mana card, the Flabidinous Floop.
Not the, because I think it's his name. I think his name is Flabidinous.
Flabidinous Floop. Yes. His name is Flabidinous. Last name Floop.
Yeah.
So 4-mana 3/4 Druid card, legendary. While in your hand, this is a 3/4 copy of the last minion you played. So
Not necessarily in that turn. So you can play something big the turn before and then play
something on turn 3 and then play
the next
this.
turn. Yeah.
Play Injured Blade Master turn 3. Play this on turn 4. It instantly dies. Sweet. This card to me is scary. I think there's a lot that you can do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So think about. I mean, I immediately think about Malagos Druid, right? Because
that's so in the meta right now, right? So
you can play Malagos on like turn 9 and shoot him with like a whatchamacallit, a Moonfire, right? For 6. Then the next turn you can Phlebidinous Floop.
I feel like they make the names of some of these cards just to mess with the casters.
You can just play that and then just swipe, right?
Yeah.
Like and then another Moonfire or whatever. Like, but you can also play this.
You have 6 more mana to play with, basically, with the effect
next turn.
of a Malagos. Yeah.
So there's that. There's Hadronox. There's all sorts of stuff that just is insane with this card. So
yeah. Oh, another Hadronox. They get enough of them already. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
6 Hadronox, not enough. I need one more. Ugh. Here you go. Phlebidinous Floop. This card is. Druid is super good already. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Druid is really, really good already. And then on top of that, they're getting this. And this basically could take a slot in pretty much any deck with any minion.
Yes.
Especially if it revolves around some sort of legendary effect like Hadronox or Malagos, where you usually only get 1. Now you could have 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. This card, I'm a little concerned. I have concern.
Yeah.
When it comes to this card, but that's actually interesting. And Rogue brought up is that it could get pulled with Oakheart, which is one of the things that's in the Hadronox decks right now. But in that case, is that bad? Like I used to get a 3/4, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing is too, there might turn out to be a Hadronox list that runs Oakheart, and there might be one that runs Floop, and they're just 2 variations of the same concept. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, and then we've got some weird stuff here that Druid is getting pushed towards. Landscaping, 3 mana Druid spell, summon 2 2/2 Treants.
They're little baby Groots. They're so cute.
Now, obviously, we've seen Treants in the Druid class for a long time. There's many, many ways to generate Treants. And I guess we should probably just kind of talk about the rest of the stuff that's happening. This is okay. 3 mana, double 2/2. 3 mana for 4/4 with a stat.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Seems okay. Yeah.
Okay. But Mulch Muncher. 10 mana, 8/8 with Rush. And it's a mech. And it costs 1 less for each friendly treant that died this game. And it's not a legendary. This is a rare. We're on 2 of these.
Yep.
So, yeah. Treant Druid, huh? They keep trying to give us many kinds of Druids. They're like, hey, how do you feel about Beast Druid? How do you feel about Big Druid? How do you feel about Malagos Druid? Well, here's Tree Druid. Yeah, Hand Druid. Like, now there's Tree Druid. Okay. It seems good because there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of being done with it. I feel like there's potential here.
I think so. I mean, they've already got a few different ways to get 2/2 treants anyway, so it's not like we're just relying on generating them from things that we're going to potentially get in this expansion.
Yeah.
So when you add a couple more tools and then things that take advantage of treants, because there's also, they got another rare card as well that takes advantage of treants.
Well, let's talk about it.
I think we should.
Yeah, we should. I mean, I think that it's a package deal here. We've got the Dendrologist, a 2 mana 2/3 rare. And you can run 2 of these. Battlecry, if you control a treant, discover a spell. What? I mean, that seems really strong. That seems really strong.
Very, very, very
Discover
strong.
Ultimate Infestation? Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't have it in my hand yet, right?
Or potentially something that's like a buff, because this very much seems to me like it's probably going to be something along the lines of a tokeny deck if what you're doing is trying to generate a bunch of 2/2s.
Sure.
So if that's what you're doing, then you
discover Soul of the Forest.
For the power of the wild. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
Soul
lots
of the Forest and treants for days.
Yeah, lots and lots of things that can happen here. So, and this is, again, we haven't seen all the Druid cards yet, right? So there's still some more out there.
There might be even more either ways to make treants or take advantage of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
interesting.
If you're ramping up and then you're making a bunch of trees and then you're buffing them and then you're making 8/8s with Rush for really cheap, and I mean, it just seems like there's something there. So, again,
so do you think that this mulch muncher?
The mulch muncher? Sure.
Yeah, is that going to be our like giant of this expansion?
I mean, yeah, sure.
It's an 8/8 that gets its costs changed by doing a thing.
True that. Yeah. Okay, maybe. I mean, I'm definitely going to give this a go. On day one, I'm going to make Tree Druid because I want to see this. I thought Hand Druid was going to be something interesting, but it turned out not to be that fun. Turns out though that some of the cards were okay. We saw the Token Druid kind of still become a thing, but it wasn't a hand token Druid. It was just token we got this Druid, one card that makes tokens, and it's good enough. So I think this one we might end up seeing it work that way, where it's just a few of the cards kind of make it, and it's not just shove them all in, right? Yeah.
These treant like decks, I think, or cards, I think are going to kind of like fit into what already is token Druid and just kind of make it a little bit more powerful. Like I think mulch, I hate the name of this card, mulch muncher.
Gotta munch that mulch.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that even like any token deck that runs Soul of the Forest could potentially make use of this. Yeah. Like you make a bunch of tokens, you Soul of the Forest, a whole bunch of treants die, and then you go, bam, 8/8. Yeah. Seems good.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, what do you do? Like, how do you play around that? It's like so many layers of like, okay, well, I don't really want to remove this board, but I kind of have to. And now they're treants, and I don't really want to kill the treants, but I kind of have to. And so I think it's going to be, I think mulch muncher could be good into it.
It depends on how easy it is to deal with an 8/8 that doesn't do anything when it affects, like it doesn't do anything at the moment it's played, right? So depends on how hard that is for opponents to deal with. But right now we're seeing Hearthstone in a very tempo oriented place where just putting stats on the board is awesome, right?
Well, and you can put 8/8 of stats on board and then clear
and then
off
you can
something.
hit something with it immediately. Yeah, for sure.
So it's probably going to be like an 8/4, 8/3, whatever. But the fact is, you can use it as removal.
It just, to me, it just depends on where we're at. Like if we're still in a tempo-oriented meta, which we are now, 8/8s with Rush are sick.
Yeah.
But if we're not, if we're in a super like aggro meta, 8/8s with Rush probably happened too late, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
even with a couple of cleared boards full of treants.
Because it's going to take a while. You got to get 10 treants to die before it's 0. At what point is this like super, like probably like 6? It's really good. So, yeah. Interesting card. Card, and a deck's going to have to be built around it, right? So, all right, let's move on to some priesty stuff here. We've got, hold on, 5 mana. Oh, there it is. Reckless Experimenter, 5 mana, 4/6. It has Death Rattle minions you play cost 3 less, but die at the end of the turn. And if you look,
Cube Priest.
and if you look, the Reckless Experimenter is literally cubing a tiny little dragon.
Yeah.
Has a tiny little dragon inside a cube.
Inside of goo.
Yeah, so they're already pushing you. They're like, hey, cube stuff. Yeah, so you got to play 5 mana to get this on the board. And then if you're trying to combo it, that means you're doing something on like 8 mana.
Yep.
Which means you have to have something living. So I don't know. Like I feel like this is a fair card, but it is going to allow some crazy stuff. Like there are going to be moments where you're going to be like, God damn it, Reckless Experimenter, cube, this and that and the other thing and all the crazy stuff. So, and obviously if you're playing Quest Priest,
that was going to be what I say.
Tons and tons of Death Rattle minions, right?
It could be the thing if you've got a whole bunch of cheap Death Rattle minions and you just need to complete your quest because you're playing against somebody who's being super aggressive. Then you slam this and then get like 2 loot hoarders for free and that little crystalline oracle guy, like, and you just play them all out on a turn and then your quest is done and then bam, you can quest next turn. So.
Sure. I mean, it definitely seems like there's a lot of potential here with this card, and you know, Quest Priest was real strong after the nerfs hit.
Yep.
Then it's kind of fallen out of favor. But I see a lot of potential to come back here with this card. it's and a 5 mana 4/6 is decent stats just for the mana, right? So you can potentially just play this and have it live a lot of times, and then get a ton of value the next turn.
Right, because it's not a battle cry; it's just a persistent.
It's just a persistent effect. All your death rattle minions are going to cost 3 less. They will die at the end of the turn, but let's say it lives. I can play a death rattle minion, cube it. Death rattle or cube dies at the end of the turn. The other minions come back essentially after the end of the turn, right?
Yes.
So those minions will still live.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they're not
They'll
minions that are played,
turn.
right? If they come out of the cube, they're summoned. This only kills death rattle minions that you play.
Sure. Although, well, I look at it and I'm just thinking any death rattle minion on the board might just die at the end of the turn, right? Or is it just death rattle minions you play?
It does specifically say
it does say you
minions you play, and play
yeah.
traditionally means from hand. So
all right, yeah. So if you summon a death rattle minion, that doesn't die at the end of the turn. Okay,
right,
cool. I mean, that's there's a lot of power potential with this card for sure. But again, it's like, man, this is so hard to evaluate. You know, like I need to play this card. I need to play with it. I need to see what happens. I need to feel how it feels to actually try to do these things. The other thing too that I'm really liking is in Wild, I'm going to do some real weird wonky stuff with this card. Like there's just so many things you can do. I'm instantly thinking like Weasel Tunneler type stuff where I just rock your world with Weasel Tunnelers, free Weasel Tunnelers all day long. All right, let's move on. We got another priest card. Here it is. Dead Ringer, 2 mana, 2/1. Death Rattle, draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck.
So more Death Rattle stuff.
Loot Hoarder that finds a specific type of minion.
Yes. So I think this would probably just replace Loot Hoarders, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean a lot of right now current Death Rattle quest priests are running Loot Hoarders. This is better.
Yeah.
You could actually why replace them? Just put this and Loot Hoarders. Like I just
you could
let's just draw all the cards. Seems super strong in that type of deck. So we'll have to see exactly how strong that type of deck is, but this seems really friggin' good. Really, really friggin' good. All right, Cloning Device is also a 2 mana pre-spell. Discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck. Milkshake style.
Milkshake!
Yep. I love it. I mean, look, 2 mana discover a spell from my deck is pretty good. 2 mana discover a minion in my opponent's deck. Probably not a meta card necessarily because most of the time you want to play with your own deck. It's as far as like, competitive Hearthstone goes.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's a discover and not just steal is really good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to depend what kind of a meta we're looking at, right? Like, is it very spell heavy? Then you're not going to play this. But is like big Druid popular where the only minion choices you're going to get are going to be like Lich Kings and Yaceras and things?
Sure.
Then maybe you do this for, to get some late game.
But against an aggro deck, you're going to be like,
exactly,
damn,
yeah.
Dire Mole.
Yeah, so it depends what meta we're looking at for sure.
Yeah. But definitely goes in my Milkshake deck for sure. Because, that deck, what's funny about that deck now? At this point, there's so many freaking cards that steal from the opponent that I actually am running out of space. And it's a Reno deck. And it's still running out of space. So
wow.
I'm like, hey, Blizzard, can you just stop already? All right? Like, I got it.
No, they got to give you something new every expansion so that you can milkshake in new ways.
Yeah. Got to keep rocking that milkshake.
Thinking of it like adding strawberry.
Okay, sure. All right, let's move up to a legendary priest spell. Zarek's Cloning Gallery. 9 mana. It's a lot of mana. Summon a 1/1 copy of each minion in your deck.
Yeah. So this card seems a little bit crazy. And a lot of people were saying like, oh, this is too much. It's overpowered. It is 9 mana. So by the time you actually draw it and get
9
there,
mana for a 7/7 were the stats at the most, right?
Yes. But if you're playing some version of Res Priest and you want all your minions to die, then a 1/1 copy might be a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but you want to play those minions early. I mean, obviously, this gives you a little late game power. It's weird. It's weird. You can only run one of these two, so
yes.
I think there's a lot of things that are holding it back. And sure, Sure, there's a lot of potential here, but I don't see it as overpowered. Like I see why people are scared of it, but I also see there's a lot of drawbacks here, you know?
Well, I mean, it's basically going to summon 1/1 copies of things left in your deck, right? So by the time they get there, a lot of things could potentially be out of your deck. So even if you're like, because a lot of people are saying like basically all of the spell damage ever plus Felon plus a Mind Blast, and then you can like kill somebody in one turn. That's all fine and dandy as long as you don't draw your Velen, your elemental.
Yeah, they got to be in your deck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
You know, to me, lots of potential here, but not necessarily just like, oh god, this can't exist. This card is too strong, type of thing. I think it's cool though, super cool. It's gonna be a really fun turn 9 when you're just like, bleh, like here's all the stuff left in my deck, you know. So you know, it's to me, it doesn't seem like combo necessarily to me. It doesn't. It seems like I just want to put a bunch of value on the board, and then I still have more value in my deck.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. People. Yeah. I think a lot of people are probably thinking about Big Priest, and I think Big Priest necessarily going to make use of this. They already do their stuff, and they do it earlier than turn 9.
Yeah.
All right. So we got another Priest card, Omega Medic. So this is one of the Omega cards where when you get to 10 mana, it does something even cooler. 3 mana, 3/4 though on its own. That's fine. Battle Cry. If you have 10 mana crystals, restore 10 health to your hero.
It's a lot of health.
That's a lot of health. That is a lot of health. And then, like in a burn style meta, like where there's a lot of aggro decks that are trying to rush you down, that seems real good. Right now, we're in a tempo-y style meta, so not necessarily that great. There's not a lot of like burn mage going around these days. There's a lot of just people putting stuff on the board, but a 3 mana 3/4 that has an upside, you know. I can definitely see it happening.
That's a really big upside,
it's a big
right?
upside,
like,
yeah.
Which is kind of the point of these Omega cards, right? Like they're pretty decent just for their like mana cost and their vanilla stats, but then if you wait long enough, then they have a really big bomb type effect, and restoring a third of your health is that's pretty big.
I could see this being really sweet too in Arena. You top deck this late, and you're just like, hey, you were trying to kill me, huh? Nope.
Yeah.
Good luck, sir. All right, let's see. We got some more Omega stuff, and we're moving on to Warlock. Omega Agent, 5 mana, 4/5. Not good stats, but you know, not the worst. Battle Cry. If you have 10 mana crystals, summon 2 copies of this minion. 5 mana for 3 4/5s.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. Again, Arena. I'm like, oh no. No, don't top deck Omega Agent.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. How would you even deal with that?
That's too many stats. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel a little concerned. About Arena with this card, but Constructed, I'm not so concerned. I think that on turn 10, you're doing some
just
crazy
cool Dan,
things
right
now. Yeah. So it's probably fine. I don't think you play this in like Zoo. It's not a demon. I don't know what you really do, but yeah, it's very strong in Arena for sure, and definitely concerning. The Omega stuff is concerning when it comes to Arena. Yeah. All right, so let's see. We got another Warlock card. It is a spell, 2 mana, Demonic Project. What it does is each player transforms a random minion in their hand into a demon. Okay. This is a la Dirty Rat type of thing where you just mess with your opponent's hand. So,
but the good thing is you don't pull out like a turn to Malagos, right? You turn the Malagos into something else. So I like this card. I like this design. I think it's cool, especially when we're kind of in a meta right now where there are things like Malagos Druid and Hadronox Druid and Shudderwalk Shaman that are built around these big late game combos with, you know, 1 or 2 minions specifically that if you can mess with them, that's great. What I hate is that it's a freaking Warlock card. They didn't need this. Give this to somebody else.
Sure. It's interesting because the problem with a card like this is and same with Dirty Rat is you have to time it right. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's gonna be very hard to time this.
It's like skill testing, right?
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to time this. I'm not so sure this is going to be in like every Warlock deck because, maybe like a one of in tournaments where you're just, you're very focused on dealing with control decks that have a big kind of bomb type of thing that they do in the late game. Yeah, absolutely. On the ladder, probably not. Probably not a lot of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too concerned. I think it'll be very interesting to watch pros try to make this work.
Yeah.
All right, we got a rogue card now. 2 mana, 3/2. Lab Recruiter, Battlecry. Shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion into your deck. So you can't pick the other guy's stuff. Only friendly minions. So yeah, gang up on a stick.
Yep.
Cool.
On a 2 mana stick. This seems really good to me.
The 2 mana 3/2. Yeah. The issue though is gang up was really only ever used in Mill.
Mm-hmm.
And Mill is gone with Cold Light.
Right.
So,
but
I'm not so sure that this is actually.
We're in a world where like Quest Rogue is a thing and Miracle Rogue is a thing, and with Faldorei Striders, like you could put so many spiders in your deck by just putting adding more and more copies of Faldorei Strider.
Yeah. Turn 6 you can Faldorei and then Lab Recruiter Faldorei's and then and then you've also got that 5 mana Rogue card, right, which plays the entire rest of your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Or draws the entire rest of your deck.
Plays the rest of your deck.
Myra's Unstable Element, yeah. So if you put a crap ton of spiders in there,
mm-hmm.
and then Lab Recruiter,
imagine you've got 5 cards left, and it's all spiders, and it's just like bam, 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 bam. Here's a bunch of 4/4s.
Put all the spiders on the board. Yeah. I can definitely see some stuff there. And also 2 mana 3/2 is fine, right? So I can definitely see this being interesting in Arena as well. You're going to be able to play a 2 mana 3/2, which is just fine as a 2-drop. Although rogues don't really like 2-drops that much, but if you get some high value minions, yeah.
Yeah, and they're also a chat room info rogue right now is talking about Kingsbane, the shiny finder guy that pulls out your. So this could find a spot in.
You get 3 more of those,
so
and you keep finding your Kingsbanes. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems pretty flexible. I think.
There's definitely possibilities here. All right, now we're gonna get to the juicy stuff. This is the juiciest of the juicy here. We got Dr. Boom Mad Genius. I have to click on this because I think we got to see the whole thing.
You have to see the hero powers, yeah.
All right, so here we go. Dr. Boom Mad Genius. 7 mana hero card. Doesn't give 5 armor, gives 7 armor.
It does.
Very Dr. Boomy.
Boom, right?
Very Dr. Boomy. Yeah. So it reads, Battlecry, for the rest of the game, your mechs have rush.
Yes.
Yikes. Okay.
And Warrior is one of the 3 classes that are going to be doing a lot of thing with mechs and magnetic.
Yeah.
They said it was Hunter, Paladin, and Warrior are
that
going
have
to
the
be
most
really built.
magnetic stuff. Yeah. And also Warriors also have just a lot of rush stuff anyway. So I'm wondering about does the 2 mana weapon then buff any mech? Because do the mechs in your hand have rush? You know what I mean? There's
I think it's a persistent effect like Jaina's elementals. So any mech that you have will then just have rush for the rest of the game. Yeah.
So in that case, I would think that weapon would they already were rush was a thing for warriors. So here's another way to apply rush. I don't know. It's to me this I'm like, holy crap. This card is insane. Now let's look at the hero powers, because basically the way it works is that you'll get a hero power that will then swap after you use it to another hero power.
I don't know if
whether you use it or not, right?
Whether you use it or not, I think it swaps at the end of your turn. Yeah. So I think there's 5 to choose from.
Yeah. So we got one of them is called Micro Squad. Summon 3 1/1 microbots, and these are mechs.
So they will have rush.
They have rush. 3 1/1s with rush. Okay. Another one. Deal 3 damage. So, bam. It doesn't give you the life steal that the Warlock Gul'dan hero power gives you, but dealing 3 damage is pretty good for 2 mana.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a Frostbolt. Here you go. Bang. You got Delivery Drone. Discover a mech.
Which
Cool.
will have rush.
Which will have rush when you play it, yes. Then another one, gain 7 armor. Wow, super tank up. Okay.
Yep.
And then another one called Kaboom, deal 1 damage to all enemies.
Yeah.
And that means the face too.
Yes, that is also the face.
Yes.
And just enemies, so it's not like a whirlwind. It won't hit your own
Yes.
stuff.
Not
it
a
just
whirlwind,
hits enemies. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently you can. Okay, a couple things. You can never get the same hero power in a row,
Right.
so it'll always change.
You will get it
It will
again.
always
Like it is.
switch. Yeah,
There
it'll
will
come
be
back, but it'll
yeah.
always switch. It won't be the same one 2 turns in a row.
Yeah.
And it randomizes on your opponent's turn, so they can see what it will
What's
be on the next turn. So your opponent will be able to like essentially play around it the next turn, right?
Mhm.
Also, it will not appear in arena. Kind of a
Oh, it
big deal.
won't.
It will not.
I didn't know
Not
that.
appear in arena. I think actually all the Death Knights are gone from arena, right? So this makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Hero-
So they
hero
took hero
cards.
cards out.
They're just too damn good, you know.
Mhm.
If you get Jaina in arena, it's ridiculous, you
Yeah.
know. So and if you got Dr. Boom Mad Genius in arena, it would be ridiculous. So yeah, I think that's good. Now this card is disgusting. This card is disgusting.
So Tiger Lily is asking a really good question that I don't know the answer to, but do the hero powers always go in the same order? So once
No, I
you've seen
believe they're
all
just
5,
randomized,
it's random
yeah.
every time?
Yeah, I believe they're just randomized.
I hope so.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. This card is disgusting. This card is insane. It's 7 mana, so you don't even have to wait for 10 to do this, which is like, what? I can play this on 10 with a mech. Say, like, I can play a 3 mana mech.
Yep.
Same as I can play this on 9 and do the hero power instantly.
Mhm.
What? It's crazy.
This card does
is
seem
nuts.
really, really good. Like, and when it comes to like replacing your current warrior hero, like there's no reason not to do this. It's like Malfurion. There's no reason not to do it on 7. It's just better.
Well, you have to play a lot of mechs in your deck if you're playing it.
True.
This card sucks if you don't have a bunch of mechs in your deck. I mean, it doesn't suck. Like, let's say you had no mechs in your deck, like you'd still have really good hero power.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the hero power is so good
Yeah.
that if you just have a deck with the default hero in it, like you could possibly potentially just throw Dr. Boom in because the hero power is so good. Yes, it's random, but it's better than just your straight up
Better than everything,
2
yeah.
armor, right?
Yeah.
Because even if you think you're going to get like 7 armor every once in a while, that'll make up for losing the ability to armor up for 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you get that every like 3 turns or so ish, then
Yep.
it seems good.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you will be playing mechs with this card, but
Well, and
you could play just like
you're-
a select few, right, that are really good.
well, and even then, like one of the hero powers does discover a mech, right? So
Yeah.
even if you don't run mechs in your deck, you're still going
that
to
point,
get
you'll
some
discover
mechs, right?
mechs and rush
if you
'em.
play him. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's just kind of one of those it's like Gul'dan and Malfurion that you're probably just gonna throw in the deck because he's just straight up good.
Well, he also just creates a new archetype for Warrior, which Warrior was a little bit struggling, right?
Mhm.
So they needed it. They needed something good, and
I
here
hope
it is.
that this helps them with rush,
Sure. I
just
can't
rush
see how
warrior
it
in
doesn't.
general. Yeah.
I can't see how it doesn't. It's to me, it's just like once you get to Dr. Boom Mad Genius, it's like kind of have inevitability. It's almost like Frostless Jaina, where you're just like, crap, how do I beat them now, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna feel that way. It's gonna be real hard to win once they actually get this down, unless you're already way behind. Because it's not like when you play it, you AOE the board or you
Right.
do something at the you're just gaining the 7
Summon a big
armor.
thing. Yeah.
But yeah, like turns after turn after turn after, it's like gonna be really hard to kill warriors from there.
Mhm.
All right, they also got a weapon, the Super Collider, 5 mana 1/3 weapon, which that sounds bad. But let me just hip you to this: after you attack a minion, force it to attack one of its neighbors. Okay, so I can hit big ass dudes and make them hit their other dudes, and yeah.
Yep.
There's
And
something here.
I don't think that it's targeted in any
No,
they showed it with just 2 minions on board, so it's kind of hard to know exactly how it's going to work. I think
pretty
it
sure
just
it's gonna
randomly
pick one
chooses
of the
a
sides,
target. Yeah. So, but then I mean, you can control that random by picking which one you attack, right? But if you pick the one in the middle of 3, then it's going to go either way.
Yeah. To me, and again, this is a card that's just like, I cannot evaluate how good or bad this card is. I need to see the meta. I need to see like, it's really, really hard to know if this is going to be good or not. Like, this is going to suck against aggro decks. It's going to be really good against control decks with giant bros, but then they need to play multiple giant bros.
Yes.
I get a feeling that
you
this card
need to be
might,
behind, right, to play this.
Yeah, I feel like this card might just not be good. Yeah. All right, let's move on. We got some mage cards here. It is a 2 mana. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. 2 mana, 2/1 Celestial Emissary. It is an elemental battle cry. Your next spell this turn has spell damage +2.
Which is very interesting with the next card we're going to talk about. Because
I think we should probably mention the next card.
We should smoosh them together.
Yeah, we should. Let's do some smooshing. So let's talk about unexpected results. Just remember that 2 mana, 2/1 next spell +2 spell damage. 4 mana. It is not a legendary spell. This is an epic. 4 mana. Summon 2 random 2-cost minions. Improved by spell damage. And the thing that's improved is the 2-cost part.
Right.
So
I thought that this meant you get 2 2-cost minions that would then have spell damage +1 added to their cards. Yeah. So when I read this, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, but no, what it means is that you will summon 2 random 3-cost, 4-cost, 5-cost. So the cost of the minions is what's going to increase, which is really interesting that they chose to do an effect like this with spell damage without changing the name of spell damage.
Yeah, it used to be called spell power. They actually changed it to damage because it didn't affect healing. Now here we are, it's affecting something that isn't damage. That being said, I think this is a very, very cool idea, and I'm really excited.
I'm glad they did it. Yeah,
because it makes a lot of spell damage cards suddenly a little bit more viable, right? So, think about some of these crappy spell damage cards that we've had in the past, and now go, hey, but if I 4 mana summon 2 3-drops, oh man, 4 mana summon 2 4-drops. I mean, for 6 mana you'd get a 2/1, and then you'd get 2 4-drops.
Yeah,
that's a lot of stats on the board. That is a lot of stats on the board. So I have a feeling, right now, Mage is very much a burn idea or a control idea. We don't have a tempo, just like values generating type of thing. Just put minions on the board, that type of stuff. It's kind of like, we call it tempo Mage, but really it's like get some early damage off of minions and then burn you out Mage, right? It's not quite tempo-y as much as it is just aggro, right? This could just be tempo, right? Just 4 mana, bang, here's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm very excited to try it out.
So, how do you feel about this card if you don't improve it? Like, if you just
for 4 mana, just double 2 drops?
Cost. Yeah, just double 2-drop.
Not good.
Not as good.
It's not good in that scenario because you're not going to get the battle cries off the 2-drops. Sometimes you're going to get really crappy 2-drops. Yeah. No.
But if you're playing a spell damage mage,
you need to have some spell damage cards. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be terrible. And it's still like on turn 4, it's like if I have nothing else to do it.
It's still kind of okay.
But it's not call to arms, right?
Yes.
So, old school call to arms anyway. All right, so 7 mana. We got another mage card. The Astromancer, 7 mana, 5/5, battle cry. Summon a random minion with cost equal to your hand size.
This one is interesting. This is like Spiteful Summoner-ish.
Sure.
Without having a specific deck, like constriction.
Well, the most you can get is a 9-drop, and you'd have to have exactly 10 cards in your hand.
Yes.
So, but most of the time, I would guess you're going to get something around a 5 or 6 drop. Because if you're going to play this card, you're going to be playing a card or a deck that runs a lot of card draw, right?
Right. So I'm kind of wondering if potentially just like big spell mage that often runs with a large hand size anyway might try to find room for this. Yeah. Because like you don't have to play around with your deck and, like take some stuff out necessarily to meet some sort of a condition. Yeah. You just have to have a lot of cards in your hand. So
yeah, I also think about the elemental mage that runs the Book of Secrets or whatever it is that draws 3 cards and runs mountain giants and stuff, and just generally has like a giant hand. Has things like Archmage, Argal, and stuff like that. So, that deck. I played a bunch of that deck. That it always has a giant hand. Astromancer would be really, really freaking good in that deck. So,
well,
yeah, you
Summoner,
got 5/5 and another one. So
yeah, even the Summoner at 4/4. Like, I mean, this is a bigger body. 5/5. 5 is a lot. Like, even though it's only 1 more health, I feel like 5 is just that extra step above a lot of removal stuff, right? Like it just puts it out of range of a lot of things. So a 5/5 body is quite strong. And then so even if you get a 5/5 with like a 4 mana minion, that's not terrible, right? And again, like you were talking about with unexpected results, the idea of some sort of a tempo style mage that we don't really have right now, maybe this is something that will exist in Boomsday, and Astromancer can probably find a place in a tempo-y deck too, because then if you're thinking tempo, you're probably playing 1 card a turn, possibly 2, but you're trying to make the best use of mana with like 1 big thing, right? So if you're doing that in your tempo deck, then maybe you're also playing Astromancer because your hand size isn't going to go down the way it would in like an aggro Bernie mage.
Yeah, it'll generally have it'll make a decent minion most of the time.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a legendary card that every free-to-play player is very excited about.
Which I've got to say, speaking of them taking the idea of the expansion from science, I feel like this is from us too, because we definitely talked about, not necessarily in like competitive ladder play, but we definitely talked about the idea of giving people a way to play with cards and decks that they didn't already have. And that's like exactly what this card does.
Yep. Basically, so Wizbang, I have a friend who plays free to play, doesn't play very often, always gets frustrated when he comes back. He keeps like going away, coming back, going away, coming back. He's like, I can't win. I'm just gonna be like, okay, dude, save up 1,600 dust. I got you covered on the next expansion.
Yep.
Wizbang the Wonderful, 4 mana, 4/5. That don't matter. I don't even know why they gave it stats. It could have just been like a quest or something. Could have been anything. You start the game with one of Wizbang's wonderful decks. And what this means is, so there's deck recipes for each class. One of them is called Basic Hunter, Basic whatever, Classic Hunter or whatever, right? What this does is it takes the other 2 and gives you one of those decks. So you just start with a deck recipe. Cheesy Bob, he can be created from legendary creations. Sure. Yeah, okay. 4 mana,
so yeah, he does need to have stats because there's ways to get him.
But what I'm saying is you could have made him a spell and then he never gets created from those things. Whatever. All right. Anyway, either way, sometimes he'll become a Yeti. Sure. Wizbang the Wonderful. You start the game with one of Wizbang's wonderful decks. It's going to be one of the 2 non-classic versions of the deck recipes, and I'm actually wondering about this going forward. Are they going to constantly update him with the deck recipes every single expansion? Okay. So you can just have this card forever.
Yes.
And always have viable decks, essentially.
Yes.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, right? And I love how his flavor works when you're creating a deck, because you can have like 29 cards in your deck creation screen and you throw Wizbang in and he gets rid of all the other cards. He auto completes your deck with just him, and he even renames the deck to just Wonderful Wizbang or something like that. And so then you just queue in with your 1 card deck and get a brand new hero and a brand new deck at the beginning of the game. So
if you have
really cool
no
for
collection,
free-to-play players.
Yeah, if you have no collection, guess what? You can actually win games. Look, I do understand that deck recipes aren't necessarily.
Some of them aren't great.
They're not like top tier decks, but
I bet Treant Druid will
They're
be one of them.
They're good
and
enough.
Mech
Yeah.
Warrior, Mech Hunter, Mech Paladin will be one of them.
You know what they are? They're better than the decks I can make with a tiny little collection. So, yeah. This is awesome. This is fantastic. I love this. If anybody ever wants to make the argument that like Blizzard and Team 5 are just money hungry, you just give me all your cash for packs, like they would never create this card if that's the case. Right?
Yeah,
like
exactly. Just point to this card and say,
yeah, just be like, come on, man. Why would they ever make this if that's the thing? Like, every free-to-play player forever is going to be like, okay, cool. I'm done. I got my one card.
Twiggy in the chat room's asking if it matters what hero you start with. It does not matter. You get a new deck, new hero. One. Everything is random, which did kind of bring up an interesting conversation on Twitter about banning this in competitive play, just because it might end up that you, like, if you just make four whiz-bang decks and then go into the tournament, it's basically makes bans impossible. You could end up playing like 3 shaman games, say. So the fact that you can bring the fact that you can bring the same class, like multiple decks from the same class potentially, and that makes it basically impossible to ban. It really doesn't matter what class you ban. It is an interesting conversation potentially for competitive play and what let's be real
though, no pro player is going to do
unreliable.
This. No pro player is going to do this, but some trolled bro is going to show up at tournaments
totally,
and do this. Yeah.
So chat room saying he's going to be banned, of course, and I'm like, well, we've never had like an HCT event with a banned card, right? Like,
not really
Hearthstone doesn't do banned cards in their competitive format, so it's an interesting conversation, I think.
Yeah, we'll see. It might happen. All right, we got the cute card.
Yes,
the faithful
so cute
Lumi. Lumi?
I don't know. I'm calling her Lumi because I think she's just because like Lumiere,
like it's
light,
illuminated. Lumi. All right.
Lumi,
Lumi. 1 mana, 1/1 mech. Battlecry, give a friendly mech +1/+1. So this is like a cute card that's actually pretty good. I mean, 1 mana 2/2. What are the stats? All right. I'm
cute and viable.
Cute and viable. Exactly. I mean, okay, so I upgrade a bull frame bot and then I buff it and then it's a threat. It's a thing that does something. Seems good. Like the penguin wasn't great, but it found places in weird decks here and there that, there's been all these cute cards over time, and this one I'm like, that's just a good one drop. What?
And it's neutral, right? So it can go in, like, we could go back to Mech Mage, you guys. We could go wild. Go over into wild.
0 mana 1/1 when you play you go into wild and then, Mech Warper.
And then you play your Mech Warper into this.
Turn 2, Mech Warper, then make your Mech Warper a 3/4.
Yeah.
That's a spider tank that also makes all your mechs cheaper. Yeah. I don't know. I just look at this card and I'm like, damn. That's pretty sick.
Because Lumi is a mech as well, I think that's where the really cool good synergy comes in.
No,
so
you can't play it on one unless you're coining with something else, but
right.
I mean, you could just 1 mana 1/1, but still, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's halfway decent, right?
It's a solid buff card for a mech deck for sure.
Yeah. So very interesting that we're actually getting a cute card that's got some value.
Yep.
All right, so we got a 5 mana neutral 2/1. 5 mana 2/1, huh?
Yep.
Well, hell, what does it do? Battlecry, summon 2 1/2 mechs with Taunt and Divine Shield.
So it summons 2 Annoyatron.
What? Yeah. That's a lot of. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. That's 3 minions, for 5 mana. I look at this.
This gives me like Fungalmancer feels, but that you don't have to have anything on board, right? So a little bit less power potentially, but you, again, like we talked about earlier, the value of Taunt and Divine Shield. You've got Taunt and Divine Shield. You've got 2 extra bodies now. They're mechs. Like I think again, this could be pretty good in something. It gives me Fungalmancer vibes when it comes to the value in this card. And we didn't see Fungalmancer coming when we first did our set reviews. So I think that this is going to be pretty good. I think that people might potentially be undervaluing it.
I mean, I look at it and I immediately think that in Arena, I'm probably going to draft this quite a bit because I just like 3 bodies, right? I mean, you're putting 4 power on the board. You get a 2/1 plus 2 1/2s.
Yep.
You're putting taunt minions on the board. You're putting divine shield on the board. Yeah, you're getting bodies.
Yeah.
That can be buffed. Yeah,
because they're mechs and we're seeing a lot. Like, I think Paladin will probably make use of this.
Sure.
Probably, possibly even Zoo potentially. We haven't seen a lot of Warlock cards, but yeah, like
Zoo just wants
kind
bodies,
of stuff,
right? Yeah.
They just want all kinds of bodies, right? So
yeah. No, I think there's definitely stuff here. This is another card. Like, I think we're gonna see this always be like, as you're building decks, you're always gonna be like, is Giggling Inventor a thing? Like, what do I do that? You know, like, it's always gonna be kind of something that's there.
Consideration. Yeah.
yeah. Because a lot of times you talk about like packages and stuff, right? When you're talking about cards, like this, let's put in this package, let's put in that package. This is just gonna be one of those cards. Like, it's always a consideration.
Yeah. Do we put in the Inventor package?
Yeah, exactly, right? All right, so the last card we're going to talk about today is the Weaponized Pinata. 4 mana, 4/3. It's a mech. Death Rattle. Add a random legendary minion to your hand.
Yes, not to the board.
No, it's not Piloted Shredder.
Yeah,
with a
Shredder
legendary
feels,
in it.
but yeah.
That would be disgusting.
Yeah.
4 mana, 4/3 sucks. Let's start there. A Death Rattle adding a legendary minion to your hand also kind of sucks. I think this card is not great, but
the card is like a rainbow,
fun.
so I'm pretty sure everyone should just play it because it looks awesome.
It's a pinata with machine guns.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. I want to know who pitched this idea. Sure. Guys, pinata with machine guns.
This was Brode's like idea as he walked out the door. He was like, hey guys, before I leave, weaponized pinata. I'll see you later. Second dinner. Yeah. So this is it's just a fun card, man. Fun card. I like it. I'm digging it. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna lose. It's gonna be great. Imagine this though. If you play this card in your hold on. Let me move up here. In your Xerix Cloning Gallery deck. Death Rattle.
Interesting.
Yeah. my Quest Priest with my Xerix Cloning Gallery. I'm summoning 1/1 copies of Weaponized Pinatas. Just saying.
That is like the most ridiculous sentence ever.
These words have never been uttered by a human in the history of the world.
Exactly.
So it's a fun expansion right now going on. It's crazy. I'm looking at all these cards. I'm going, yeah, this is all good. I like everything that's happening here. There's nothing that's making me mad. And that's not how Hearthstone expansions have like historically worked. There's always something where I'm like, what? No, stop it. Now I'm just like, yes.
We do only have like 34 cards out of like 134 cards. So they still have a lot of time to piss you off. Don't worry.
Piss me off down the road. Exactly. All right, so we're gonna just skip this email because it's already
we are way over time.
And we are done. That's all the cards we have right now. Apparently, the release schedule is nuts, so that means by next week we'll have a ton more. So we are in full swing on the just talking cards, talking stone, talking cards, hanging out, having a good time. I'm really looking forward to this expansion.
We've got 2 weeks till the expansion launch, so
yes. And speaking of that, I should mention this. Originally, I had scheduled the taco for the 28th. Working, can't do it. So I'm gonna have to swap it to the 4th, which means it's gonna happen the day before the expansion, the pre-expansion event, which is happening on the 5th. So everybody, the signups will be coming out very soon. I got everything pretty much ready to rock. I just haven't rolled it out yet. But yeah, Taco will now be on August the 4th, the day before the pre-expansion event on the 5th. So look out for patrons. Look out on the Patreon for the signups. And then as soon as we get through the first week of that, then we're going to swap it out to everybody. And that'll happen on like Twitter and everything like that.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go, let's talk. Hi, Iggy. Iggy wants to say hi. Before we go, let's talk about a couple business things. Patreon is how you can support this show. go to patreon.com/TAC. And if you give anything at all, we love you. Everything you do supports the hell out of us. And it will also give you early access to the taco. So if you want to get early access to the taco, make sure you get in there. That's a good way to do that. Also, 5-star reviews on iTunes. If you like this show, 5-star reviews makes people find us. It boosts us up that little list there of top shows. We want to thank our Patreon producers, Declan H, Sean C, Johnny S, and LVE. Also, if you want to buy TAC coffee mugs and glasses, you can go over to etched.amove.tv. We can also find shirts for sale at shirts.amove.tv. Find everything at you. Okay, dude. Jesus. I'm trying to do an outro right now. He knows it's coming. That means the walk is around the corner. I know.
Yep.
All right, you can
as soon as you start doing all this, that's when he knows. He's like, oh, I know this part. I know this part.
You can find all the back catalog and all the old episodes of TAC on amove.tv and youtube.com/amovetv. Follow the show on Twitter at TAC Podcast. You can catch the live show every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv. Although today we are on /WillyDills. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do. And also alphageekmedia.com. Big thanks to briangriffith.com for our music. And now it's time to tell everybody what you got going on, Jocelyn. What's going on in your world?
Well, obviously, we've got a lot going on in Hearthstone, but there's also a lot going on in World of Warcraft. So if you guys are paying attention to World of Warcraft, if you play it all, go check out For Azeroth, which is my Warcraft show. We've been diving deep on a lot of stuff. We just got the pre-patch story started this week. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about. With Battle for Azeroth, which launches a week after Boomsday does. So yeah, we've got lots going on in Warcraft, so go check it out. It's Sweet. For Azeroth. Follow us on Twitter at Faz Podcast.
Nice. You can check me out. I am twitch.tv/WillyDills, and Twitter I'm at WillyDills. Garrett is found at Garrett Art. Jesus. Nomenart.com for his designs. Check out his other shows, Into the Nexus. He's also got R2T2. Which is a solo show where he basically is never solo and has guests all the time. And that's going to do it for episode 273. Join us next week for 274 with lots more cards to talk about. The Boomsday Project. And until next time, job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!